Hello, everyone, and welcome back to No Beer Left Behind. I am Brian, and I am joined by the great Frank in Austin. Frank, your microphone is muted. How are you?
I'm doing well, Brian. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. You know what? I really like the old light up microphone because I can tell when it's on, when it's off, and it helps troubleshoot on the fly. Keep it up. I like that. Yeah, I had my doubts, but it's a nice mic. Like it.
It's strategically important, is what it is.
It's like Luxembourg, right? And that strategically important.
Yeah. It's Switzerland always stayed neutral because they could always decide whose airbase they wanted in.
Yeah, that's good. Makes sense. Money never sleeps, baby.
Yep.
How's your week been?
This is true.
I didn't mean to step over you there, but how's your week been, buddy? I know we talked about it before the cast. You got some home renovations happening.
Yeah, it's been good, man. I mean, we're probably a couple weeks away, maybe, well, could happen at any time from introducing the child to the world. So trying to get some of the last minute stuff hammered out, including a patio project. So that flagstone patio I made last year, trying to get a cover over it so that it can be an outdoor kitchen type area in the next year or so, just doing it kind of a step at a time. And they started on Tuesday. They've already got the posts and headers up and should start on the roof trussing tomorrow. So it's been a pretty rapid development. It's a part pergola, part covered roof, kind of a hybrid. It's
yin and yang duality of man situation happening out there.
Duality of no, but in any case, it's exciting. It's always nice when you're putting your money to use, but you're doing something is gonna pay off, right? So it's like a no-brainer at this point. I mean, for what we bought this house and what it can sell for, it's you're not going to lose money making it a little bit more livable. So in any case, tonight I decided to do a little something special because I bought a nice beer that I didn't know was going to be as good at HEB last night called Trejo Cerveza. And I've never had it before. And I'm putting that up against the Live Oak Pils because they're two fairly common lager, pilsner, whatever varietals around this region. So I've seen this Trejo Cerveza in a couple spots. I've just never bought it. And if they're in HEB, you'll be able to get them. And then Live Oak obviously is Live Oak. It's everywhere. So I'm trying to kind of put them to a test here. So I'm starting with the Live Oak, and it's just a great beer. Live Oak is phenomenal.
I still need to get my hands on some of their Grodzisky, but
that's all over this joint.
So I've seen Trejo Cerveza. It's the face of Danny Trejo on the can of this, and it's a traditional Mexican cerveza, but it's an American Mexican cerveza. Don't know how they pull that off, but I didn't realize it was made by Lincoln Beer Company out of Burbank, California. I've seen that can as well. I didn't know where the hell it came from.
Yeah, me neither. That's why it doesn't say even on here, I don't think, that it's made.
Yeah.
It just says trejocerveza.com. DT Unlimited is the registered trademark.
Danny Trejo Unlimited.
Yeah. Oh, okay. On the back.
Yeah.
And it's not made in California. It's made in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. So they use Brees Pilsen malt.
Hold up.
Fireman
Munich.
Yeah. Munich Type 1 malt, flaked rice, flaked maize, Magnum hops, Tettnang hops, lager yeast. It's a really good beer.
Hold up. You said it's made in Stevens Point, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm. That's what it says on the label.
And it doesn't say anything about Lincoln Beer Company?
It does, down up here.
I wonder if they contract brew it for nationwide distribution out of Stevens Point, because Stevens Point, I think, is where there was an old PBR brewery,
Could be.
or there was another like macro lager brewery that is no more.
Well, I will give this a solid. Is it as good as the fresh Altstadt lager? No, but is it damn close? It's damn close. It is a very well made lager. Give it a solid rating. It's not cheap though. A 4-pack I want to say is like $8, $9. So it's not the cheapest one, but I gave it a whirl just because, I'm always up for a good lager.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
So yeah, on my sort of sliding scale, it'd fall. So to me, Altstadt makes the best lager and pilsners local to Texas. Then probably Live Oak Pils to me is the next one. And this will fall right between those two because I think this is a little slightly better than Live Oak Pils. Ever slightly. So maybe like Live Oak's a 4, this one's like a 4.2. Altstadt's like a 4.8. That shit's pretty damn near perfect.
Ja. So, I'm sorry, I got lost in the old Stevens Point Brewing. Like, where the hell, how the hell? So, yeah, Point Brewing in Stevens Point makes a large list of brands, and I would guess that's where their contract brewed out of.
Got it.
Interesting as shit, man. Yeah, no, I like a good lager. I don't like paying a whole lot for a good lager, but at the same time, I can appreciate a well-made lager. I too actually have an Allstadt lager in the refrigerator that I'll be having after this, just because I missed it.
Yeah, and it's we're getting into that time of the summer where, like, the Oktoberfests are starting to come out, which I love. Well, they started really in August, but you're starting to see some of the bigger ones come out or reach the stores, and you can actually buy them. St. Arnold released theirs, I want to say like middle August, and it just sits on the shelf because that shit is way too spicy for me. I do not enjoy their
We've gone over this.
Oktoberfest. Oh, okay. In any case, I just saw tonight Sam Adams, I think, is an HEB now. It wasn't like a week or a bit ago. So exciting part of the year, but since summer decided to be late to this part of Texas, I still can't sit out on the patio when it's 100 out and crack open an Oktoberfest. It feels like cheating. So maybe this time of the evening I could enjoy them. But I was buying stuff for like, oh my God, I just got done running, took a shower, whatever. I need a cold beer, not, sit out and smoke a cigar. So pretty soon here, daylight savings will kick in and it'll be 6:30 and dark, and then we can start cracking Oktoberfest.
Oh, I mean, I can crack a Meritzen beer 24/7, 365. Just enjoy it. It's like what I'm drinking tonight. I'm drinking a Guinness Extra Stout, mainly because I found it in my kegerator fridge this evening. I opened it to grab a 12-pack of Yingling Flight that I had stored in there. I just had just a 12-pack box. So I grabbed the box out, and I heard glasses like clanking together behind my keg in the kegerator. I was like, what the fuck is back there? I look back and I've got a bottle of Guinness Extra Stout and a bottle of 2018 Lakewood Bourbon Barrel Aged Temptress.
Ooh, okay.
I was like, oh fuck.
Do you recall how we rated that?
So I remember we had, when you and the missus were up 2 years ago, we had a 2018-2019 back-to-back tasting, and it was good. Wasn't great. The 2018, the year at the time, it was only a year old, and it wasn't the worst beer we had that, and it wasn't the worst special beer we had that night, but it definitely wasn't the best special beer we had that night. I think that was the one we had that big roundtable podcast where Parker joined us too. It was for I want to say it was for my birthday in 2019. Fuck, yep. I don't know when the hell it was. Anyway, we had 2-year-old and like that year's version of Bourbon Barrel Temptress.
Wait, but we also did a video tasting with the wives.
So we
did a flight of 4. Wasn't that Temptress?
No. Okay. So
that was Bourbon County Stout.
Yeah, we did Bourbon County Stout. That was 5 years of Bourbon County Stout. I still have the video of us tasting that. I was early on in my video creating days, and gonna be honest, not good. It was like our Herfcast that we did that one time.
It's okay.
would love to do it again and take my learnings from the first couple times and do something different. Which, spoiler alert, I am building a little mini rig for us to do such a Herfcast situation and do it from my action camera. So we'll have good high quality video. It'll be wide enough angle where we can look skinny and be sitting far enough apart. And we'll have external audio captured off of it. So it'll just be, it'll be great.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So little things like that where I'm not going to bring out my fucking high-end mirrorless camera with a fucked up lens and a shitty backdrop just because we need lighting. We'll get it set up better. Sense. Yeah. No, I've grown so much in the year since we tried that cast and the 2 years since we tried literally a fucking half-decade vertical of Bourbon County brand stout, which that was surprisingly good.
It was. I think there were only 2 of them that did not.
And one of them was like only a year old.
Yeah. But the old ones all tasted good. I think it was the one that was a year and then the one that was a little too old.
Yeah. Yeah. But that was fun, man. That was good times.
It's good to do stuff like that. It's like it makes you appreciate consistency more than anything.
I am going to need to do that again soon with 120-minute IPA. Because I now have 6 years of 120-minute IPA. Okay. So some of those years I have double bottles or like Willem is dinging the doorbell, which I didn't realize makes the sound that it does. I have like 2 or 3 years where they did 2 releases of 120-minute, and I have those in line too. So we're looking at like, by the time we get this together, this year's will be in there too. So it'll be like 10 bottles of 120-minute IPA. It's going to be I'm going to need some help taking that down. Speaking of needing some help, Willem's here with us tonight. Willem from Tulsa.
Wow.
Yeah. I just thought I'd throw just random shots. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Dandy. I'm drinking a Guinness Extra Stout in honor of Willem.
Oh, nice. Good beer, huh?
Right? It's so tasty. I was giving Frank a hard time because he was like, I can't drink Oktoberfest, when it's real hot outside. And I'm like sipping a pitch black beer. It's
a little different, though.
It is. Anyway, what are you drinking? I saw you hold up the neck of a bottle.
Yeah, I was starting to hold it up, but I distracted. Big Wave. Kona Big Wave again. Last of the 6-pack. I've been drinking Miller Lite Tall Boys all week while I do all kinds of work around the house. Getting it ready for my parents' visit. And also just
getting it gussied up from my parents.
Just getting it back in order in general. You know how it gets.
Oh yeah, I like a little bit of chaos thrown around the house. I'll just move a bed off the frame for a bit and just see what happens.
It's like sometimes you have to let the stuff pile up so that it motivates you to start actually doing it. It's disastrous.
I like to not to be able to open the door because something crashed behind it, and I'm just like, you know what? I'll clean it up later. We'll just let that dust gather on it a bit. No, you talk to the king of it. Like this couch behind me had, I don't want to over exaggerate, but a metric ton of dog hair on it for about 6-8 weeks. I just let it sit there, like to the point where the dog wouldn't even get up on the couch for a while. He was like, that's fucking gross. And then I bought a goddamn carpet cleaner, like a whole ass rug doctor, like portable fucking machine to clean the couch. And I was like, I cleaned it, and he looked at me like, you son of a bitch, you ruined it. I had it just the way I wanted. Mind you, he's the only person in this house who uses that couch. No one else uses it. It's just his.
That must have been so satisfying to get all that up.
Oh, it was disgusting is what it was. Oh, it was so gross. I just remember like I went through 2 cleaning tanks on the old machine. And it's decent. It's good, not great. It's one of those Bissell green spot cleaner things. It's fucking nothing special.
You didn't rent a rug doctor.
Well, I wasn't going to rent a rug doctor and pick it up and put it on the fucking couch and drag it off. I mean, it's a bit of a problem.
The Ellis way is to always rent the rug doctor and just do a day of fabric and carpet cleaning.
Bro, that's exactly my plan. So I am planning on taking off at some point in time in like October, beginning of November, and just rug doctoring all the carpet in my house, which admittedly, it's not a whole lot because we got a lot of tile throughout the house, and like I'm not gonna do the fucking guest room or my daughter's room, which is like mostly covered by a giant rug anyway. So I'm like, fuck it, whatever. But
might you add upholstery to that day because they come with a wand
attachment
that you can use. Yeah.
So I'm gonna one up that. No, I've been eyeing an actual fucking machine, like I think this one's a Hoover, but it's got the same width as the Rug Doctor. It's got rated as the same suction as the Rug Doctor, which I'm all for. But if I can have it at my house, I mean that's fucking. I just can't.
But I'm okay. So how much is this machine?
Yeah. Okay. So let's not get into the metrics of it because I understand that a Rug Doctor is like $500-$600.
No, but it's like $30 a day to rent.
Yeah, I know. Well, this.
Yeah, who buys? I don't think anyone really buys a Rug Doctor.
Can you even do that?
Yeah. It's like, well, you know what? If Michael Scott has taught me anything, it's better to buy than to rent. You know, you never know.
I'm so glad I bought this Zumo suits.
Yeah, you never know. He may just buy it and inflate it halfway if he needs it. You know, you may not need to go full sumo. All that to say, the machine I'm looking at, I want to say it's a Hoover or a Bissell, one of the two, and it's right around the 140 to 180.
Oh, okay.
Range.
You can't really go wrong with that.
And I was like, you know what? If nothing else, like even if we use it 6 times, like it's paid for itself, and I don't have to go to the fucking store and drag a big ass Rug Doctor around. Plus, those have little mini attachments too, so I can do little spots every now and then. This other one I got it also for my car, so I can do the old seats. And we got a kiddo who decides, oh yeah, no, cool, chocolate Pop-Tarts are an awesome thing to have on a tan fucking cloth interior. It just looks like someone got really surprised in the backseat of my wife's car. Like, it's fucking atrocious back there. So, yeah. But, all that
like
to say.
The bathroom in Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, exactly. He's just fucking sweating. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, no, I understand. But all that to say, I know what it's like to let stuff build up a bit so you can get it a nice deep clean. I fucking mopped all the tile in my house on Sunday. Don't know what bug got up my ass there, but literally moved everything off the floor, mopped the entire house, and I was like, I accomplished something. Went outside and washed my car. I was like, oh, fuck yeah. It started raining while I was washing my car. I was like, fuck you and fuck yeah. So, it was well worth it, though. Have y'all ever used one of those?
Hand wash the car?
Do what?
You hand wash the car?
Oh, yeah. Have y'all ever used one of those foam cannons?
Yeah, they're good.
Fantastic.
Just an attachment for the hose? No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's just literally just a little attachment. It looks like, you know how you spray pesticides or like water-based fertilizer on your yard? It's got a little canister in there. You set the dial to how much it sucks up as the water passes through it. Except it's got a little wand agitator thing that injects a hell of a lot more air into the old water stream as it's flowing through.
Okay.
So did that, used that on the old car, thought I read all the instructions correctly. Boom, turned out, used way too much fucking soap.
I did that the first time too. But in the end, like the lather prevents swirls, so you just have to rinse forever is essentially what you did.
Yeah, to the point where about 2 hours later, Mrs. Bryan came home and there were still about a quarter mile of suds down the front of our house.
Oh my god!
It was.
Are you like polluting your waterways?
I fucking killed. I killed at least 2 ducks. I think out of all that. They're fucking not happy. They at least have violent diarrhea. There's so much soap. So I mean, when I say suds, I mean a fucking about 8-10 inches wide,
higher
all the way
down.
All the way. We don't have a curb. We have those like rolling curb situations in our neighborhood, but it's enough to like like when you run the sprinklers, you know who's running the sprinklers because water starts here and runs all the way down there. It was all the way past where like there's a little intersection about 5 houses down. Kept fucking going. It was a lot of suds, and it was just never ending. It was like, man.
Oh my word!
You know what? Car looks great. Put a new Chelsea sticker on the back of my car too, so fuck yeah, let's do this.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a good productive weekend, y'all. That's what I was up to. It was clean and shit.
Productive weekend.
Okay. Well,
Are you Frank?
I thought Willem. I thought Willem said he had a productive week. I thought there was a follow on there.
Oh yeah, I can tell you. I did a lot of things too. I don't have to tell you all the. It's
No, I mean you could generally got the garden prep for the fall, etc.
One big thing I did was there's this really weird cinder block foundation of some old structure. It looks to be an old garage or something, and this has just like the worst fucking dirt, and it's riddled with objects and things, like old objects and little glass bottles and whatever else. But like you wouldn't grow anything in this, but the weeds were growing in this thing, and it looked fucking terrible. So I weeded that out, and then I got like 6 bags of mulch, and I put the mulch down. It wasn't enough mulch. So I'm gonna get like that again tomorrow, finish it up. But it looks so much better, and it's just feels really good to have gotten that done.
It's good. It's like feeling little things along the way that you're accomplishing is pretty fun.
For sure.
I mean, I'll say every big project that I've undertaken, it takes too long for that to happen. So sometimes in the middle of it, you're like, God damn, is this ever going to be done? It feels great at the end.
Yeah.
But like, when I put the garden bed together, it took a day, looked great afterwards. I was like, oh, this is good. Yeah. So I always bite off
the ocean.
Huh?
Some of them, it's like you're in the middle of the ocean on like a long swim.
Yeah. Yep. That seems to be a lot of the ones that I get involved in. But
I think you described it best last year, Frank, when I don't remember what project you were working on, but he just described it as, I grossly underestimated every project that I've ever done.
Yeah, no, it's consistent.
For me, what I do is like, I'll have like my ultimate thing for what I'm going to call the pit now was like,
oh, good. That worked out great for Parks and Rec. That's good.
Screening with like a fire pit area, conversation pit sort of area, some seating along the cinder block and whatever that was like made out of 2x4s and, whatever else. And it'd be really nice. Some string lighting. And so then I was like, what's the most torn down of that? Like, what's important there? Okay, there needs to not be weeds. And if you put some like red mulch down, it'll look kind of nice. And then I started with that, and then I'm actually going to put some tiki torches up to make it look better. I'll go snag a chimenea, and I'll have like, something pretty wham bam, thank you.
Yeah, it'll be functional.
I want to throw out a naming idea. I heard you say like a conversation area. Let's call it the interrogation pit, okay? I feel like that rings a lot better, and it gets more to the point, okay? We're not hemming and hawing around. We're getting to the fucking nitty-gritty here, all right?
I'm leaving all the little things I found while I was weeding. I'm just leaving along the edge.
That's good. That's not creepy. There's like a
consideration.
There's like a rusty corkscrew. There's some broken glass.
There's an old tuna lid. Like
yeah, that's good.
That you peel up like you twist.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's like one of those, like very old. Like if I press it, it just like crumples apart.
See, you can't have nice things like that though, Willem, because your friends are going to come over and they're going to think they're just in for a conversation. They can think they can touch your tuna can. No, that's not what.
If it breaks, it breaks. But there is there's a brick that's like from St. Louis or something that's old. That was pretty cool to find. And then I found a jar that was for women's hair product.
Oh, thank God you said product.
I'm forgetting just women's hair. I'm forgetting the name of the product now, but that jar I took out and like put somewhere because I don't want it to break or anything.
Yep.
Well, I mean, do you have a jam rock?
A jam rock?
Mm-hmm.
A rock where I jam?
No, just a rock that says jam on it. We had this like leftover fucking retaining wall stone that didn't match any of our like rock work in our house or in our retaining wall. It sat out in our backyard for like until last year.
Right.
Just sat there like on the back patio collecting dust. So I cleaned it up and just painted the words JAM on it in Jamaican flag colors. So welcome to Jam Rock plays every time I think of it. I feel like
amazing.
it's just.
And then you put it on.
Oh yeah, of course.
What every hang starts with, basically. Then.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I think what I'll say from like the project perspective is because my house has no privacy fencing. Whenever I start something, like I pretty much have to full bore do it because otherwise you see it from the road. Like you see, we're like, okay, so say I dug up the flagstone patio area and I was like, shit, I'm just gonna leave this for a couple of weeks. Like it wouldn't work, right? So like for me, the part that I underestimate isn't so much the fact that it's going to be hard work. It's like, yeah, I mean,
that's also just the scale of that. I mean, that's
exactly
a project.
So, in any case, yeah.
Now you're getting this covering. I mean, that's also just a gigantic. Did you see the size of those beams?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that I knew I couldn't do. So I hired professionals to come do that. Yeah. But for the even just the water softener install that I dug the trench for, I had to lift this limestone thing that it probably weighs 300-400 pounds, this one stone. I thought it was going to be simple. I got it lifted. It dug underneath it, everything. But then again, there goes,
my back.
12 hours, 13 hours trying to find the water line. That's another 13 hours. Yeah. So I
was getting some back spasms with the weeding. I must be, be forthcoming as this.
Yeah, it's whenever you work those muscles that you never do, especially digging in soil, bending over and doing shit like that. It's like hours of that has significant.
I definitely learned from your experience on the water softener thing. I also would have thought that that would be doable, but I would not be trying that.
No, I think you can learn a lot from all the things that I've attempted to do and have regretted. Especially, honestly, I'd say painting is my least favorite thing of them all. Like, painting. I really hate painting. Yeah. It just takes forever. It takes for fucking ever. Like,
like house painting.
Yeah.
What did you think? Frank picked up a hobby, and he's like, oils on canvas is really.
No, that I would love to like find time for and do, but
yeah,
painting the house, no thanks.
Yeah, and it gets to be very boring and cumbersome, and then you start where you don't give a fuck anymore, and that's when you make the little mistakes where but you just don't care because fuck painting. That's how.
Yep. And then the problem is when you make those mistakes at the time, you're like, oh, it's okay, but then you never unsee them. You never unsee them. So yeah, painting in all of the sort of stratosphere of housework is my least favorite. I really despise painting. I do not enjoy it at all.
Yeah.
I actually quite enjoy painting. It's nice.
Yeah, some people get chill. My wife likes it. She relaxes when she does it.
Being able to tape everything off, make sure those lines are nice and creased down. Ooh, let me get the floor coverings down, make sure those don't get fucked up. And then I'm like, oh, let me get to cut in. Oh, I get to cut in around the ceilings and around the wall. Oh, yeah.
No, thanks.
Yep.
Nope. Okay, so what I wanted to kind of quickly bring up is I listened to this podcast today that was discussing the ivermectin surge usage, okay? And granted, we should all be shaking our heads that Americans are taking ivermectin. They did bring up a very good point that I think is worthy of discussion. So a lot of the places where ivermectin is actually causing significant issues are in the third world because they still don't have readily available vaccines. And actually, in some of those places, doctors are prescribing it to patients because they don't have anything else to give them, which is really sad. So if you're an American taking ivermectin, you are an idiot. Also, if you are an American taking ivermectin, the recent studies coming out show that it is 85% likely to sterilize you. So maybe just a bit of karma there.
But only 15% chance that I won't be sterilized.
That's true.
So glass half full.
But in any case, so maybe that means Joe Rogan's sterilized.
I think he probably was.
85% chance that he is.
Yeah.
That's a B.
That's a B, baby.
So I found that kind of interesting. So yeah, it actually does have valid treatment. So what it normally is used for is river blindness, which is
it's an Oregon Trail disease.
Yeah, it is. It's like a Central African type.
Oh,
only a couple places in the world where people still get this disease, but that's what it's normally used for. Doctors tried to kind of use it for COVID. It's been proven not to work, but apparently it also sterilizes men. So maybe Joe Rogan's sterilized. Who knows?
You know what pisses me off is when he released that video saying that he tested positive and they threw everything at it and they listed like, you know, the shit that Donald Trump took and that Greg Abbott took when they both tested positive. I forget what the hell it is. It's a long name, but it's like, you know, one of the few things that has been proven to like boost your immune system and fucking help your body fight this shit. That is also so fucking expensive that the average person will never be able to take that. And they're like, yeah, but ivermectin, I took that too, or just, you know, and I feel better after 3 days. Like, hey, dipshit, could it be the fucking actual proven medicines that you took? Also, the fact that you probably were vaccinated that also helped you throughout this entire thing.
But none of those
registered. It was just whatever the last thing you took was. That's what cured you. That makes sense. that makes sense.
Liver flavored horse paste. That's what did it for me.
You know, whatever. The vaccine's free. Like, do people know that? Like, I feel like enough people don't know that. You don't need to figure out what feed store has this shit that you can almost kill yourself with. You can just go to fucking CVS, really and truly.
Yep.
They'll fucking stick you in the arm, and then they'll call you back in 3 or 4 weeks and stick you again. Free.
But if the answer is the vaccine, then so much else of their worldview is incorrect.
That's it.
That's the reason.
Yeah, we're all on the same page. All right. So people suck. They really goddamn suck. Fucking idiots. Just goddamn assholes. Did y'all see that there was going to be a rally in Washington, D.C. this weekend?
I did, and I think the...
What kind?
FBI?
Oh, no, good. Villem's got a good question. What kind of rally? It's to support the people who have been arrested for the January 6th insurrection.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
these are the people who vowed to be back.
Can this be some form of insurrection?
I mean, about 85% chance, I think, honestly.
Boy, they better be very careful.
Well, I bet at this point they're going to line that lawn with those heat wave guns that they have that immediately makes you feel like you're on fire until you get out of the microwave zone. That would be I would do that tomorrow. Like, if these people are going to line up and they want to get too close to any of the buildings, just fucking nail them with that microwave gun.
Well, and I would definitely be very with my, justice on whatever happens.
Yeah, the FBI already told their field office and a bunch of everybody else, the DOJ and whatnot, to be
ICP
on guard
mm-hmm.
because the chatter that they're seeing on social media or these corners of the internet is that some of these people are actually going to bring like guns this time. So yeah, I mean, it's comical that these fucks think that at some point they're going to find enough militias to overthrow a government that has nuclear weapons. Like,
right?
I mean, Jesus Christ.
We sent in like fractions of like literally just very small numbers of people and overthrew other countries' governments, and we have done it for decades. The fuck do you think you're going to do? Like, really and truly, the fuck do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing separating you from a spot in Guantanamo is the fact that your ass was born here. That's it.
Yep.
Like, literally it. You are threatening the U.S. government with annihilation, and you think you're different than the Taliban. Like, what are you even on?
Oh, they are different from the Taliban. They're goddamn American terrorists. That's the one thing that I did want to bring up on this cast. Thank you for segueing into it. People comparing the Texas Republican Party to the calling them and comparing them to the Taliban. Stop doing that. They're just fucking fascists. That's all they are. They're fucking assholes. They're not any different. Yes, but let's not besmirch the good name of the Taliban when these motherfuckers are right down the street.
I think the comparison comes with the religious fundamentalism and like
the control over women's bodies.
They really don't fucking give a shit.
Yeah. Fascist. That's also what they can be called.
It is also, yeah, I know, but it's just trying to draw the parallel and say just because one's Christianity and one's Islam doesn't mean that.
Oh yeah, no, I get that, but I also want to make sure we call them what they are, which is fucking.
Yeah, no, I don't have an issue with calling them fascists. I mean, the Taliban are fascists as well. I think it's just ironic that these people devolved from a movement that was so anti-Afghanistan. Like, what did it take them? 5 days to flip from save Afghan refugees to don't bring them to my hood? Which everybody knew.
It took them 30 seconds to say, you don't have the right to tell me to wear a mask, to you have to have an abortion.
No, but I'm more talking about the dishonesty in their foreign policy.
I'm talking about the policy in their fucking front yard.
No, I get it.
I know.
I'm just trying to make a different point. We can make that point in a second. What I'm saying is when it came to the Afghanistan thing, right? They wanted to throw Biden under the bus for a fucking week straight. And then when he finally did get everybody out that he said he would get out and attempt to get out, it's the largest humanitarian airlift in the history of this world, okay, took place. Over 100,000 people were evacuated within 9 days. So that took place. That did happen, right? So now these people need places to go. And predictably, we said it on this cast, wait until they try to rehome these people in the U.S. These people are going to be back saying, we don't want them in my neighborhood. And it has started to happen all over the place. Tom Cotton came out today with that. Some idiot in fucking Missouri came out with it 2 days ago. These people literally have had 7 days since this thing is over to now all of a sudden changing into, we're back to hating Muslims again, which it's no one's surprised. Like, that was total dishonest pandering that they cared about Afghans. They don't give a shit about Afghans. Anybody that's not a Christian and that's not white is essentially not part of their interest or voting block, so they just don't fucking care.
Nope.
And that's pretty much what it is. So if in the end, whatever we call them, they are simply no different than these fascist movements all around the globe.
Yeah.
The Taliban being one of them. So they just happen to be equally as religious and evangelical about their shit because they celebrated this abortion ban as being everybody else was like, okay, maybe don't pass this. This isn't a good law. Like, every moderate Republican in the country sent these senators in Texas phone calls, letters, whatever. They're like, guys, not the battle to fight. Fight it in the courts. This is way too much press. It's going to blow everything up. They did it anyways. And then the evangelicals came out and they called it a heartbeat bill.
Yeah. It's amazing how that spin happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely transparent, right? Like, all the polling tells them no one supports a heartbeat bill. All of the polling. Like, there is a 20 some odd percent portion of society that supports this level of extreme abortion ban. You are much better off, quite frankly, based on polling. Now, not that I agree with it, but based on polling, going like.
Are you about
16...
to give them a great idea? Don't give them any great ideas, okay?
No,
Frank?
no,
Okay.
no. The polling's
sure.
there. It's not a great idea either way. But I think 16 weeks or 20 some odd weeks starts going up at like a pretty significant trajectory. So I want to say 16 weeks has like 42% support amongst society. Like there is some support for a time frame, and that's polling. Whether or not you agree with it or whether or not it's completely accurate, you can formulate policy around it if that's truly what you want to do. But they went for the dumbest of all the approaches at the dumbest time when they've got midterm elections, primaries coming up here in like 2 months. And why? Like, what is the benefit that they gain? Nothing. There's nothing to gain by banning abortions in Texas when Mexico just approved all.
It allows Abbott to run on his new platform of we're going to stop rapists.
Yeah, exactly. Which he didn't even think of, right? Like,
ending
that's
rapists.
just a comment that came off the top of the dome and goes to show how dumb this dude is.
He might as well have fucking snapped his fingers. Finger guns. I got the idea. We're going to end rape. Oh. How?
It's good.
Seriously, though? We're going to do that? Yep, we're taking it off. We're going to stop it in the streets.
Yeah, I mean, reason number 2,576 as to why that tree limb should have just finished them off.
That fucking piece of shit. You know what? If it was a real Texas elm...
That tree is a quitter. We should find it and we should cut it down.
Yeah. Don't tread on me. It's Abbott's fucking wheelchair wheels with the tread on the...
That dude is, yeah, exactly, yeah. Abbott starts rolling in on 22 wide beam tires.
He's got spinners at the next press conference. Piece of shit.
That dude's trash. He's absolute human trash. There's nothing to be said about Greg Abbott other than despicable human being, doesn't deserve to breathe the same air as everybody else. Like, that dude, he's masterpiece theater and what narcissism does to a person.
I can't remember who it was, whether it was Lieutenant Governor or one of the other pieces of shit in Austin at a press conference a couple weeks ago, straight up blame black people for the COVID numbers increasing in the state of Texas.
Yeah.
Which bold move, Cotton. Bold move.
It's funny because I think the way that he phrased it is minority groups, and then said especially the black community, and everybody was like, "Okay, that's a weird context." And then I think he went on to say because they like to congregate.
Yeah. Something like that.
And it was like, what? Like, okay, I mean, I like to congregate with my neighbors, and you know, do you think maybe this has something to do with the education that you guys have given any community on the vaccine? Because you've done nothing.
Frank, he points at his skin that matches yours, just rubs it, and shakes his head. No, you don't get to congregate. You get to roam free, I guess, and just graze about the countryside with you and your fellow white folk. That's what happens.
I mean, we don't have mobile vaccine clinics in this state. We've got, literally, they're like, oh yeah, you need to walk to CVS or Walgreens, or your local county office might have them, like vaccine drives. Yeah. Other states have literal mobile vaccine mobiles that go into minority neighborhoods, educate people door to door.
We don't want that because we don't want fake voters registering in the vaccine vans.
That's right. You're right.
Yeah,
we could be risking them also walking people through how to get a voter ID.
Right? We can't fucking have that, can we?
Darn. Yeah, checkmate.
Yeah.
Checkmate. You got me there.
Fucking your turn, Beto. Now fucking come at me with some good shit there.
I will respect. By the way, just shout out to Beto. He is trying to do exactly what Stacey Abrams did in Georgia. He is registering hundreds of thousands of voters in the state that have never voted before, and educating them on how to vote, not who to vote for, but how they can exercise their right to vote. And that is very, very, very difficult work. That is some of the most difficult sort of hit the ground, boots on the ground political work you can do.
Yep.
Shit is not easy. It's really frustrating too, because at ACL, the people will always register 18-year-olds because they try to get them early so that, the voting population grows.
Yep. So they can reproduce.
Well, yeah, that's right. But they try to get them early, and the amount of shit that they get for just being out there registering people to vote, I would quit probably after 2 days. It would just like be soul sucking to be out there day after day.
Mrs. Bryan registered people to vote at Warp Tour.
Dope. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Why do they get shit for registering people to vote?
That you
get-
have the conservatives who believe that that's ballot.
I thought this was a democracy. What the fuck?
No, it's in democracy as long as you fucking agree with what I have to say, piece of shit. Like, that's what it boils down to. And even if you look like you don't agree with me, boom, right there. That's where the dividing line goes. It's almost like there's one party that's way more fucking racist than another. Anyway, no, she registered people to vote in 2007 at the 2007 Warp Tour, headlined by
Mark Hoppus,
Paul Wall and Fallout Boy.
Okay, Fallout Boy.
Check your calendars.
Paul Wall at Warp Tour must have been quite the experience.
Check your calendars at the door, folks. This shit's getting wild. I think Blink-182 was there that year too. I can't remember, but I know that, and you know what? I know that Fall Out Boy was there. Fall Out Boy and Paul Wall might have been a separate tour. Now that I'm thinking about it, and it may have been.
Well, I mean, this is
Blink-182
luckily
and Fall
pretty
Out
easy
Boy.
to look up. I'll tell you the lineup in just a second.
Yeah, look up. Here's the Google search, Frank, because I don't want you to screw this up. Fall Out Boy, 3 words, okay, comma, Warped Tour, comma, 2007, maybe 2008, question mark, and then another comma, Blink-182, question mark.
And I'm just going to tell you, Warp Tour was a lot bigger than it used to be, or is a lot bigger.
Oh.
No,
What?
used to be a lot bigger than it is now.
That
'cause
makes
this
more
was
sense.
This was a 3-day thing.
That's a lot.
Also had 4 stages, it looks like.
That seems about the right number of stages.
5 stages, 6 stages, 7 stages.
Sounds like you're describing a rocket with those many stages.
Yeah, and they had like they had both the Hurley and the Hurley.com stage.
No, obviously. The .com boom of the early 2000s. You guys remember that? We're on the internet now. No shit. That's cool.
Yeah, so the Warped Tour Dallas lineup was Bad Religion,
Fuck yeah.
All Time Low. Well, this is just an order now. Hold on. Let's
It's
see
in
the full
alphabetical
lineup.
order.
Yeah, let me just see if there's anybody else that we know from there. Jesus, there's a lot of trash on here. Something called Chiodos looks to be a early version of, I don't know. They all have helmet hair though.
Well, of course.
That's Coheed and Cambria
This may have been 2008.
one.
I've seen Coheed live. They were awesome.
And then let's see here. KOS, which is a Canadian rapper that I've never heard of.
Feels like that's anti-Semitic somehow. Not sure how.
Newfound Glory. Paramore. Pepper.
Pepper? Just Pepper.
Just Pepper. Pistolita, which
Oh, you have found the fucking...
never
awesome.
made it anywhere. Jesus. Something called The Almost, which never happened.
Almost a full name.
Yeah. Red suit or red jumpsuit apparatus.
All right, sick.
Not bad. The Used, not bad. Yellow Card, again, not bad. So this was not the year.
I am so fucking confused as to how to read any of this shit. This is insane. It might have been 2008. I know that she was trying to register people to vote for Obama, and
It was probably 2008. Yeah, that's
2008.
Paramore, Gym Class Heroes, Jack's Mannequin. That seems more like it might have
Cobra
been.
Starship. Yeah.
Yep. Gexa Pavilion. Man, I don't know where that is.
It's Jexa Pavilion. It's now the Dos Equis Amphitheater.
Oh.
It's an outdoor stage in Dallas. It's
Well, I think this is where we're at. Angels and Airwaves. So
hell
Blink was
yeah.
not there.
No, yeah.
Blink was not there.
Yeah, they couldn't appear on stage at the same time, or else the world would have fucking exploded. You know?
Exactly.
Look for Plus 44 would have been the other band.
Oh.
Ooh, yes. Plus 44 was good. Or some 41.
Well,
Gym Class Heroes.
yeah, they were good.
Katy Perry.
Fuck yeah.
May Day Parade. This lineup was full of heat.
Hell yeah, 303. You remember them?
Yeah.
The Secret, MC Chris. Are you fucking kidding me?
Paramore back again.
Yeah.
Reliant K.
Yikes.
Swayze was good.
Jack's Mannequin. Fuck.
This was a pretty good lineup. This one I could get in. The others, 90% of them, never heard of them.
Charlotte sometimes. This is a fucking great name for a band. Let's just, hey guys, we're naming this Abilene kinda. All right, welcome to the stage. Fucking Waco, maybe.
Yeah. So in any case, that's cool. Yeah, registering people to vote's neat. It's one of those kind of underrated civics duties because it's not an easy thing to do.
Fuck no.
You get a lot of. It's sort of like trying to get someone to take your nightclub card at the corner in Las Vegas or Miami or whatever. It's like, yeah, dude, I'll take it and throw it in the trash. Thank you.
Trying to get people to come to the comedy show in Times Square.
Well, see, but that's actually fun sometimes. Like, I think Willem Katie and I took up a dude one time on that.
Yeah, you almost got fucking annihilated by a goddamn 18-year-old comedian, from what I remember.
The guy up on what?
When I think it was in Chelsea or maybe Greenwich, where the guy, we tried to get into the Comedy Cellar, but it was full. And the guy said, I've got some seats over here. I'm trying to fill this venue with people. It's comedy, but it's like stand up, open mic night if you want to go. That's when we went into that dungeon with the Buddha or the. It
was like Laughing Buddha or something.
Yeah. And when that 14-year-old came through and body slammed me on the mic. How do y'all think I'm doing? And I go, pretty average.
That was so funny. Yeah, he fucking. That's literally what happens to me.
I said,
the guy goes, "How do y'all think I'm doing?" And everyone goes, "Woo!" and whatever. And Frank starts saying something
above average,
above average, or something.
That's
like
right,
that.
and only average came through.
But only average comes out.
Stopped and average.
And he got so fucking spanked.
Got torn apart.
Yeah, by at that point was like a 14-year-old
sitting front and center the whole time. It was like not quite front, but like perfect seat, like a row back, kind of like the exact right seat for it.
The exact right seat for him to see everything he needed to know about Frank to tear him apart.
Oh yeah, no, I mean he went from the tie through to the shoes to there was nothing off.
Easy. He would just constantly go back to him too.
Yeah.
Like, there. So like you keep going, and be like, "How was that average?"
Because at that point he's got the crowd on his side, and everybody fucking hates Frank. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was an absolute disaster, is what it was.
I like how you got in there because you were going to see like stand-up comedians. They're like, we got this open mic over here. You're like, it's gonna be fucking subpar. Meanwhile, fast forward
up until then, it was pretty like it was chill. It was fun, but it wasn't that good. And then this kid came on.
Until fucking Randy Savage grabbed the mic and started macho man his way through Frank's life.
He was like halfway through his set, and he goes, "How do you guys think I'm doing?" And everybody's like, "Yeah." And I look over at Willem and I go, "Oh, he's above average." And then average was all that like anybody else heard, and that was the end of that.
That makes me so fucking happy.
Did light up.
It was
the best part was you trying to defend yourself.
But there was something I said before. You didn't hear before.
I said
that's not what I said.
There's not going to be a conversation.
Oh no, one of you has a microphone.
Needed to hear.
I'm sorry. Does this thing work? Yeah, it does. You don't have one of these, do you, asshole? All right, we're gonna go with this.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That's fantastic.
Oh, it was fun though. That is still one of the best dudes I've ever seen at just like an open mic. And I can't for the life of me remember what his name was or anything.
That kid's name? Dave Chappelle.
Yep. Oh, yep, that's true. Saw him as a 14-year-old. It's like time
on this
warp.
topic, Katie and I did catch a Aziz Ansari show that was like just put out on Twitter, and I think I responded to the tweet or something.
It was a lottery, and he picked from people who were like retweeted it.
Or
Oh, that's
responded
good.
or something. And I just happened to see it, and I did it, and I didn't think I'd win, and he picked me.
So we got 2 tickets.
And so we got 2 tickets, and he was
Awesome.
like testing out this new material that he was gonna.
It was an audience of like 100 people. It cost like
That's really cool.
$20.
Yeah, that was dope. The Cherry Theater.
Yeah,
That's really neat.
East Village.
East Village.
The biggest regret I have is when we were still living there. I had multiple times gotten picked for the like. So Trevor Noah had just moved to the States, and he was doing this like ticket raffle for every night, and he did shows for like 2 months straight, almost every night. And it was at a small theater too. It was like 200, maybe 300 seats, and you could win the raffle and just go see the show. And multiple times I got picked, and I never had enough notice or had plans with work or whatever. And yeah, he was just doing it in Brooklyn. You could just go see him. And if you wanted to pay like ahead of time, I think it was like 20 or $30 or something, but he just had a limited number of seats that you could buy. And yeah, Trevor Noah was cheap back in the day. You didn't even need to, no one knew him. He was just doing the
Yeah.
underground circuit in New York.
Well, but in South Africa they knew him, and like if
He would sell out arenas. Yeah,
our cousin, he would be like, "What the hell were you thinking?"
yeah, yeah. And I just literally never had time. But we did see Ladysmith when the old man was still alive, so that was cool. At the Harvard Theater.
That was 10 years ago. This month, actually. Mrs. Bryan is so ashamed of that photo. She made me pull it down off of Facebook and Twitter. And who's that in the middle?
Is that Joe Rogan?
Yeah, it's Joe Rogan with hair. That's how long ago that was. Look how short that man is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that human. He's sterile now.
he's there. 85% chance.
Yeah,
15 not,
hopefully.
though.
The world would be so lucky.
I forgot that like it came up in my Google Photos. Like, remember this? I was like, fucking shit. Yeah, I do remember that. So I sent it to Mrs. Bryan, and she goes, "I'm so fucking ashamed of myself. Don't ever show that to anyone." So of course I shared it with y'all. And then she put a string of emojis that ended with the fucking horse face emoji, which I was like, yeah, that works. That makes sense. That tracks. It's so good.
Yeah, that man is really, bought in. Is he really that different than Tom DeLonge, though, when it comes to a person that was at some point talented, funny, not crazy, or maybe was crazy, but hid the crazy, and now they're just batshit insane. Like Tom DeLonge and his Alien song, everybody just needed to believe him. And we thought it was funny. He was like, nope. This is real. And he's like, I don't know why you guys are laughing.
Yeah. Yeah, which is the fucking scariest thing that anybody could say. Like, why are y'all laughing? What's so fucking funny? Oh,
he went along with the bit until he didn't.
Yeah, until everybody else got off board. And they're like, oh no.
Hey mom, there's something in the bathroom.
I think it's
this
aliens.
whole song is not a joke.
I'm being very serious right now. Please stop.
I'm gonna tell you stories about my real life experiences with aliens.
Oh, that's good, Frank.
My name is Tom, and I do believe they're real. I'm not like you guys.
Uh-huh.
Aliens took me.
Wow, I got
okay.
Now I have to.
Labeled crazy. Do you think aliens are real, Frank?
I think, I think there's life somewhere else. I think there are things that cannot be explained flying around. The U.S. government admits to it. Whether there's secret space programs by non-U.S. entities, whether they're actual out-of-this-world spacecrafts, has yet to be defined. I think Tom DeLonge also believes in like significantly more extreme things. So the aliens thing was just easy to jump on because it was funny, and he wrote a whole song about it.
Okay.
But he has a lot of crazy. Tom DeLonge has a lot of crazy, and there's part of it that might be not so crazy, but also parts that are, I mean, he does believe he is like some spiritual leader sent here, and he has a cult following, like Jared Leto. Like it's nuts. He's totally insane. But yeah, no, I do believe that obvious. Well, I mean, at this point, if you don't believe it, you're not listening to experts. That there are things that we can't explain.
Yeah, no, we're talking to. Listen, not our listeners are not this way, but we're asking the same group of people who are deciding to take horse dewormer instead of a fucking proven vaccine. So, fuck are we doing? Same group. You can't separate them because they're all fucking mixed in together. Once there's piss in the pool, you can't take it out. I think that's
true.
Like,
no. But I'm not racist. I'm just saying. Isn't it interesting?
I find it real interesting. Here's the deal. Tom DeLonge was linked to Skinwalker Ranch for a little while. You guys know what Skinwalker Ranch is?
Isn't that the gymnastics ranch?
No, that's different. I don't know what the fuck that is. That sounds gross and very
It's something with an S. It is something with an S. I'll look it up.
Skinwalker Ranch is like one of the most highly active, unexplained happenings, places of happenings in the United States, and it's a giant plot of land that was purchased that was once Native American land. And the tribe that lived there practiced what they basically. You remember, Willem? You watched Reservation Dogs, right?
Yeah.
You remember when they went to see their uncle, and they kept calling him. Fuck, did they call him?
A shapeshifter.
A shapeshifter. Yeah. Same principle. Hey,
Don't
yeah.
do that.
Just
You
love
can't
that.
do that.
No, I know. I'm not doing it.
Well, okay.
Just love that.
I don't think Willem was culturally appropriating a fucking a fucking sound.
Sometimes, and I feel like he's gonna do it at the wrong
I just
moment.
love it when he does that.
It's fucking. It's okay. It's like Uncle Roger saying "Hi, yeah." It's the same situation. It's not a catchphrase, but it is literally. At least Uncle Roger gave white people permission to say "Hi, yeah" like that, and encourages us to use it and get it out amongst the people. I feel like it's same lines. Not saying the same thing, same lines. Anyway, Skinwalker Ranch is a place where shapeshifters and chimera take place, and they have a lot of documented experiences that cannot be explained. Anyway, Tom DeLonge was trying to live on Skinwalker Ranch for a while. That got shot down when the Skinwalker Ranch people talked to him. And was like, yeah, no, that's fucking too crazy for me.
He's just a weirdo. Like, he's really weird. He has all these fucking weird, like, out there beliefs, even more so than just, like, believing UFO exists. He's like, there's this whole conspiracy and this whole world that's hidden behind XYZ.
When you get into it and you realize that people who not only believe in UFOs, believe in different races of alien who are walking amongst us. You have the tall grays and you have the short grays. And then you have the fucking, it's a whole goddamn thing. If you want to learn more about it, there's some really good podcasts that don't take it too seriously while taking it way too seriously at the same time. Over on Last Podcast on the Left. They do entire fucking series, including on Skinwalker Ranch, which is very, very interesting. Matter of fact, we're in merch tonight, so boom.
Yeah, so it is definitely like, it's a bit different. He is a real weird dude.
Speaking of punk music, which I don't know why I always equate this to this person, but I have been listening to Lions Led by Donkeys podcast. Listen to one today based on Rhodesia. Turns out, the place sucks. Bunch of fucking assholes. Didn't know that until today. I know.
You didn't know Rhodesia was a racist country?
I assumed just, geography and timeline of
Can I tell
success.
you about Rhodesia? What do you know about Rhodesia?
Yeah, I thought the only thing I knew of Rhodesia before this morning when I listened to a fucking 2-hour podcast on it, again, very white, very sorry, was that the Rhodesian Ridgeback was a very beautiful dog. And that's all I fucking knew of the place. Very sweet dog, unfortunate name.
From there.
Do what?
We only know about it because we're from there. It's not like we're over there.
Yeah, it turns out I feel like the rest of the world probably needs to know a little bit more about why that place sucks.
Oh yeah. The whole scramble for Africa.
Yeah.
You should do a ton of research on that because it's a whole fucked up situation.
But the podcast Lions Led by Donkeys, I didn't realize that our own Troy was moonlighting over there. Frank, have you heard the podcast? Any of the podcasts on any of the subjects?
Sorry, which cast are you talking about specifically?
Lions Led by Donkeys.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I have.
Okay, do you know the co-host Nick?
Yes.
AKA Troy. They're the same fucking person. They have the same laugh. They have the same voice.
They do.
They're the same fucking person. It's insanity. If I didn't know for a fact that Nick lived in Washington State and or parts of Texas, was involved in the government work somehow, and also did reenactments, like war reenactments, which...
Oh, he's like a full-on LARPer.
Oh, yeah, fucking way out there. But other than that, same fucking person. It's wild. Just let Willem take an hour, go listen to the Nazi rocket plane that tried to kill itself. Listen to that episode and tell me that Troy is not fucking cheating on us with the Lions Led by Donkeys podcast.
Okay, well, so what's the name of the podcast again? Lions what?
Lions Led by Donkeys.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so Rhodesia is actually kind of interesting because they also had apartheid, and it was way more violent. It was way more racially charged. And then, well, I mean, you can't really be more racially charged than apartheid. It was just a lot more aggressive.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, they were like that hot fuse that burned quick.
Yeah.
Because they were openly killing black people in the streets, not trying to segregate them, just killing them.
Yeah. So, I guess I was trying to kind of...
You're trying to downplay apartheid.
Tease people to go listen to it.
Oh,
like
no,
it's just straight up murder.
No, so the point.
You're right. So it was a much shorter period. It was about 10 years, and then well, I guess it was about 18 years. But in the end, they lost power. Mugabe took over, and they became Zimbabwe. And Mugabe just did everything that they did back to him.
Yeah. He even gave some pro-Hitler speeches.
Yeah,
which is wild. What?
So it is actually a pretty interesting thing to go watch, because I think it kind of will maybe make Americans realize how important it is that they have always been, especially white Americans again, that they've always been the majority in this country, and what could have happened had they not been, with all the atrocities that they've committed to others, or not them, but their ancestors have, because these things don't always play out to where the majority, still is the majority, or is the majority when they commit all these atrocities. So it's like Africa, it's happened a couple times, but Rhodesia is one of the worst ones.
Does it go over the name at all?
Does it go over what?
The name?
No, and I should say the point of the podcast was covering all the people who fought for Rhodesia who were not from there. Which that was the point of the podcast, and was really interesting because there's a bunch of fucking white nationalists went to fight over there, which is weird. They dispelled the rumors that a bunch of Vietnam veterans became mercenaries to go fight there. Like the people who were from the Vietnam War, who went to fight in Rhodesia on behalf of the fucking racist side, white people's side, they were a bunch of they called them wounded eagles or crippled eagles. That's what it was, because they were Vietnam veterans who were like missing fingers and who were blind in one eye and who were basically destitute in America. They couldn't adjust to living in the United States.
So they had to go fight another war. Or
who were addicted to fighting communists. And even the Rhodesian army was like, let's not get too upset with communism, okay? Because Russia's still around here, and we want to make sure we don't piss them off too much. And also, more about hating black people than hating communism. All right, so let's just get on board, and let's come on.
But okay, so two things. The white nationalist warfare was and has always been perfected in that part of the world. Like, I think people really underestimate how much the militias in America and the militias in Europe learned from and are learning from militias that have existed in South Africa for a very fucking long time. The only difference is we don't give those militias airtime in Africa, in South Africa specifically, because we have so many people who realize how crazy they are. So, like, we have this group who, if you ever see Fox News broadcast something about South Africa, just immediately take it with a grain of salt, because 99% of that stuff comes from an organization named AfriForum, which is the forum for the advancement of the Afrikaans people, the Afrikaners. And they are inherently a racist organization. They are filled with diabolical white nationalists. There's propaganda everywhere. So if you see anything by AfriForum, don't even read it. There's nothing about AfriForum that is a reliable news organization, or even a reliable organization when it comes to an opinion of what's happening in the country. And AfriForum has been mainstreamed in America as a talking head for white South Africans. So whenever Tucker Carlson interviews someone, he interviews the head of AfriForum, whose name is Ernst Roots, who was one of the most racist people during apartheid. So Ernst Roots is like rooted in racism, no pun intended, but like he's never been respected on any liberal front to fight for democracy for all. He only cares about the white people.
And he's not related to Nappy Roots at all, right?
No, not in this case. So
Common
in any case,
misconception.
like we've perfected, and I know I said this like 6 years ago on this cast. All this shit you're seeing from the American right, talking against Black Lives Matter, talking against a government that's not uber Christian nationalist, all that shit. Those talking points got perfected in South Africa. They're not new. The Nazis were too extreme and got annihilated. So then a lot of them moved to South Africa. They were like, well, maybe we can't talk about Jews quite like that. So then they all got together, made up this plan to where you can just, essentially be racist without being called racist, and just dance around, pivot around that point in those times. And then they didn't adapt quickly enough. So then they were super racist. And then they started pivoting around being super racist and being like, well, how do we tone this down? But don't ever, don't mistake yourself. Like, what is happening here has been happening in South Africa for over 100 years. This is not new.
There are a couple things. So do you guys know about the name Rhodesia at all?
Mm-mm.
It is after Cecil Rhodes. So his last name
nice.
is
Yeah,
Rhodes.
so
The
a
name
piece
of
of
the
shit.
country is Rhodesia.
Who's
This man.
Yeah.
So here's the book that I read, or am reading, on this subject. It's called Diamonds, Gold, and War. It's by Martin Meredith, and it is about all of this, like that, the scramble for Africa, but that specific part, like Southern Africa. And it starts back from like the when it first was like a trade route to the east and whatever, and then how the Cape Colony grew and expanded and whatever, and how the British drove the Afrikaners out inland, and how the Afrikaners displaced people and claimed territory for themselves and all that. But Cecil Rhodes was a man who was an early like prospector or whatever. He had like gone to Oxford and
He was a
studied
pillager.
law,
Yeah.
and he just kind of like he was the guy who went to school and fucked around and like didn't get his degree or whatever, and then but he was destined for big things, whatever.
Well, so he was part of nobility. He was part of nobility, so he had to get. He worked for the crown, and
Well,
they
I
had
don't know
to
if
find
he
a
was part of
job
nobility,
for him.
but he did work for the government at some point. But he ended up in Africa, and I can't remember the exact details, but I do remember, or I do know that they've like found fucking diamonds, and from there it was just about like the only pursuit was to find new gold reefs. They found a gold reef in a place called the Witwatersrand, and this was the largest gold reef that had ever been found in the world, or some shit like this. They also found the Victoria diamond deposit, which is like now the largest diamond mine ever, or whatever. And
Are you saying gold reef?
they call it a reef. Yeah, it's like a reef deposit. It's a certain kind of way.
It's like in bands, I guess.
Yeah, it's
It's
striations.
literally
Gold-
like on the
gold
surface.
is-
It's like it's the easiest to reach sort of
Fucking
gold.
learned a new term today. I
Reef, yeah.
love learning new
Uh,
shit.
But no, so what they did was they started with like bits of land, and then they would just like, if they found something valuable, then they'd be like, well, those people have land over there, and there's gonna be valuable shit over there. And then they'd like destabilize completely and like turn factions against each other, or like straight up just fucking attack, like and it was all just chaos. And it's like in the name of the crown, but the crown had zero control over anybody. And this man ends up with his own country named after himself through all of this.
And-
he just destroys the tribal makeup of the entire region.
He ended up with his own country and founded De Beers, which you can still buy shit from today.
I do like to
Yep,
drink some
back to
beers.
the beers
Oh,
now, yeah.
different.
So,
So let me tell you one story from this. There was one tribe who was completely passive. Okay, allowed them whatever. If they were like, we would like to prospect on your land, they would go, yes, go prospect there and whatever. And they knew what was happening, right?
Good
They knew
vibes
they were
only
just
tribe.
But they were like, we're not gonna like retaliate, right? Like we're not gonna give them a reason and whatever. And when it came down to it, when they finally invaded the capital, I think it was I can't remember the name of the place, but when they finally invaded the capital, everybody fled and like deserted the area. And when the white people arrived, the only thing they found left were two other white people sitting there playing cards.
wow.
And they didn't kill them, they didn't massacre anybody, like just to prove this fucking point of like ultimate, pacifism.
Yep. And there's a lot of tribes, like, I mean, it's very similar to the Native American story, where a lot of tribes trusted people in the beginning, and the British just came and just annihilated. So one more thing, if you like, I granted it is a high honor, but if you want to do something that could help, there is a movement that wants to rename the Rhodes Scholarship, because this guy is that's where the money came from. I personally have kind of thought about this for a while, and quite frankly, the Rhodes Scholarship should maintain, but it should go to fund Black entrepreneurs in Africa. And instead of sending people to college, it should fund businesses. And if they do need to go to college, it should also fund that. But this man destroyed so many lives. He's honestly despicable. And anybody who talks about him in a kind manner is just a guy who happened upon some gold and some diamonds. Really needs to go study up on history. Like,
Yeah, he wasn't like a fucking 49er prospector in the west of the United States panning for gold. No, this dude was fucking...
yeah.
And he was gay. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but he was
Well,
gay
geez,
as
you
fuck.
got to fucking bring it all down now.
Yeah, so he was noble. He married into nobility in Poland. So he ended up
really?
Yeah, but like
dying
nobility in
unemployed.
Poland, what is that,
At that time, it was high time.
Don't fucking bring me down here. Don't bring me down.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, what was that? Yeah, you're right.
Her name was
in any case,
her name was
so
Xenon, and she was noble. It's
that that book is good. I need to go read that book. I read Guns, Germs, and Steel,
Mhm.
and a couple of other Jared Diamond books that really touched on Cecil Rhodes, because Cecil Rhodes was the original pillager. He did not go into it to kill people, but eventually that's what it took to keep getting returns, right? So like that's what people don't realize is once you see this kind of success, the way colonialism worked, eventually you had to go to killing or resort to killing to keep gaining power, gaining land. And yeah, I mean, Alexander the Great proved it. You either surrender or you're all going to die, right? Like that was his whole thing. So it's not new. The only thing that is kind of ish new at that point in time was they were fighting tribes that were so outgunned that you would have thought they would have felt some kind of remorse, but they never actually saw them as humans. So
I'll close out on this because that was one of the first things that they kind of uncovered or dispelled, I guess, were that at one point in time, Rhodesian army or the Rhodesian infantry was touted as like the best. They were the best soldiers on the planet.
Yeah, they were mostly Zulu.
Well, turned out that the reason they were touted as being most successful is because a lot of the early battles that they had, a lot of the early encounters they had, they were the only ones with fucking guns, and they were just massacring hundreds of people. And they were like, oh, they're super efficient. They are born killers, the Rhodesian infantry. And then they realized that they sucked. Honestly, they were really fucking bad, and people were leaving as fast as possible. And by people, I mean all people of eligible fighting age, and to the point where Rhodesian government paid people like $200 a month to fight in the Rhodesian army. The issue is that once they started fighting, in less than a year after they started this rollout, they switched their money from the pound to the Rhodesian dollar. Or the Rhodesian pound, which was basically the same as handing someone Monopoly money and fucking turning them loose because it had no value. They couldn't buy anything with it. And so people were then stuck with $200 of fucking fake money.
Of nothing.
They couldn't even get themselves back home to their fighting, to their country, which they left to fight. So a lot of people hightailed it to South Africa. A lot of Americans, white Americans who joined the forces, over 80% of them just jetted. If they weren't killed by their own fire, they bounced to South Africa, which was just fucking great because they couldn't afford to get shot at anymore.
Yeah, it's funny because like all of these tribes that occupied sub-Saharan Africa, they were all at war a lot of the time as well. So there was always a fight for land, not over resources for the most part. But to your point, one of the most kind of respected tribes in that area when colonialism was taking place was the Zulu tribe, because they were essentially like the Japanese in World War II. Like they would do shit that they're like, okay, we might kill you fucks, but we're sending 100. And they would run at bullets. Like they did not give a shit. So for a while, there weren't colonial armies big enough to go take their land. And they ended up killing a bunch of people and taking their guns. Mm-hmm. So the Zulus, for a lot of their history, actually protected their land fairly well. And then you had, obviously, some of the more passive tribes never having that even in their belief system. So, yeah, I mean, Africa, the history of Africa is always a history that's just riddled in warfare. And it's really unfortunate because it can be much more than that.
Yeah, no, it's fucking wild. I didn't know this shit was even, like I said, I felt dumb, but at the same time, like, how the fuck would I have ever learned about Rhodesia? Other than like what you have screamed at me various times that Zimbabwe sucks, and I just assumed that whatever was before Zimbabwe also in fact sucked. So I just took it as gospel and went from there, which turns out right, but right for a whole bunch of different other reasons that are far more gross.
Yeah. So Zimbabwe sucks for very different reasons than Rhodesia sucked.
Yeah.
Similar things, but very different.
Yes, kind of, but different. It's like the quarter pounder. Yeah, it's kind of like the Big Mac, but it's got a special sauce on it, and that special sauce is fucking white supremacy and white nationalism.
Yeah.
It's a through line of McDonald's too, folks. Don't forget it. I'm sure it's in there somewhere.
It's on the dollar menu, actually.
Yeah.
They try to recruit as many of you to go.
Can I get some white supremacy?
Run into bullets as possible.
Can I get a medium fries and white supremacy? Like, oh, I'm sorry, our soft serve machine is fucking broken again today.
85% chance this is ivermectin in it.
Damn it. Before we wrap up, y'all did see that McDonald's won the lawsuit that allows them to fix their own goddamn ice cream machines at their locations.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Has this been like since Croc that this contract has been in place?
No, it's been since like the mid 90s or some shit.
Okay.
Some
I was gonna say this dude had like 3-tiered monopolies going on within his own company.
Very similar, because it was a former McDonald's employee who left McDonald's, started Taylor, the ice cream machine manufacturer, and Taylor wrote into the original contract with McDonald's that they had to use Taylor service engineers to fix all problems, and then they wrote code in their fucking ice cream machines that wouldn't display to the user as to what was wrong with it. So a Taylor engineer had to come in and fix each machine.
Good for them. Good for them.
It was like
get the fucking man.
It was like $1,200 per service visit as well. So like,
yeah, ladies and gentlemen, just so you know, a brand new soft serve Taylor cost you $7,400.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's
I mean
fucking
that is a
insane.
significant. That's actually similar to Samsung. Fuck it, buy it, McDonald's, you assholes.
Yep. So yeah, they that's happening. So hopefully we can get our 1,500 calorie McFlurries back, baby. So
Man, so now that brings a whole different kind of thought into your mind. The number of times you've gone to a McDonald's and the machine's not working.
Yeah. Oh, dude, there was a whole fucking conspiracy video I think that Vice did over the summer, or I guess it was during the pandemic. So, it could have been May of 2020 or it could have been last week, all the same fucking thing. And the documentary was based on like, why are the fucking machines always broken? And they did the math on it, and they were like, okay, if you're an independent franchisee, like, sure, you want to cut costs as much as possible. How much? It's $1 cone for soft serve ice cream. Okay, cool. But it's like $400 or $500 to come out for a service visit. So fuck you. We're not like it's going to take a minute for us to service.
Yeah, and how
this.
many times do I need to get that service?
And because you couldn't read the service codes, you had no idea what the fuck was wrong with it. It literally could have been a turn it off, turn it back on, but like on an inside switch. Until some dude made basically a Raspberry Pi powered code reader for those Taylor machines and then started selling it on essentially the black market, I guess, over the internet. And some franchisees were buying it and using it to fix their own machines. The lawsuit came, and I think it made it all the way to some appellate court, and they were like, "Get the fuck out of here! No, we're not doing that."
That sets a huge precedent for right to repair. Period.
Exactly.
On anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's one of the things that. I feel like should be a generational coming together. Like everybody can agree that we should be able to fix our shit.
Fuck McDonald's, and thank God McDonald's sued.
Yeah. Like, who would have thought that McDonald's comes out as the good guy in 2021? The fuck is happening?
God, I got a big ass IT band cramp just now. I'm sorry. Ooh. Okay. We're back.
What is an IT band cramp?
It's the one that goes between your butt and your thigh.
Ah, I thought you had to turn your router off and turn it back on. I was so confused.
No. It just literally, when I kicked my foot out, just went shh. Yeah.
One more time.
Shh. That was pretty consistent. Those two you could put on loop, and I bet you'd be hard pressed to find a difference in both tonation, inflection, length.
Tonation, huh?
Yeah. All right, wrap it up.
It's what people who have a foot fetish call themselves. We're part of the tonation, baby. Okay. Thank you all for listening to this and every episode of Nobody Left Behind. If you feel so inclined, please rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Remember, if you're leaving us a rating, fucking 500 stars, as many as you can give us, baby. We'll take them all. Feel free to check us out over on our social media pages on Twitter and Instagram at NoBeerLeftCast. Rumor has it that there is a Facebook page. I don't know. Facebook Business Manager is a real motherfucker to operate. So if you've been messaging us over there on Facebook, welcome to the 21st century. Go ahead and hit us up over on one of the real good social medias. We're on Parler. We're on fucking ivermectin.org. We're going to have a new post up over there. And YouTube. Also YouTube. All right.
Brian, we're on January 6th. Why are we on Parler?
Wow. I was hot, baby. It was trending. So I got NBLB secured over there. You know? Don't want anybody else to have it.
Yeah, we actually locked down the... It's all for the clout. And we were close to securing an OnlyFans account, but...
Yeah, they took the sexual...
anybody wants that. I don't think anybody wants
They took the sexual aspect off, and I was like, I'm out, bro. Like, I fucking hardcore only.
Yeah. No, they verified dicks over there. I'm not even joking.
How do you know that?
I'm kidding.
I was like,
Could you imagine being the person to be like, that's not his dick?
All right, let's get to scale here. We're pulling background images out. Okay. All right, we've derailed, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. For Brian, until next time, I am out.
For Willem and Tulsa, thank you for listening.
For Frank in Austin, remember, if your wife sends you for 6 cans of Sprite, pick up 7. I'm out.